Hello everyone. Now that I've done my best to share information and help people get started with Far Cry 5, I'm going to focus on the question of should I buy this game? It's what people have been asking a lot, and I want to answer that. I will say that there are some aspects of Far Cry 5 that are fun, but overall I think Ubisoft could have done a much better job. I was honestly expecting way more work than this. Let me break it down in random order for you. I'll start with the purchasing of Far Cry 5. I got my copy of Far Cry 5 through Steam. At the time, it said that you needed to agree to a third-party ULA, and of course the store page has changed since its release, but what I wasn't expecting is that I had to be logged into Uplay at the same time, plus link my Steam account to Uplay. That's right. If you purchase this through Steam, you have to have Steam and Uplay logged in at the same time. So if you're a streamer or a person with a not so great PC, just buy it through Uplay. Save yourself the resources and the headache. I never expected something like this. Any other Steam game that I have purchased where I saw that third-party ULA agreement or whatever it's called, I never had to log into another platform. It was always some website or some pop-up, and I accept or I agree, and I was done with it. But no, this is the first time that I've had to deal with something like that. I will take responsibility for getting on Steam because it was ultimately my choice. So I'm not putting the full blame on Ubisoft, but I'm just saying that they could have done a better job of explaining that from the very start. Okay, with the store complaint out of the way, now let me talk about the weapons. I felt they could have done a lot better with the weapon choices and weapon customization. Every weapon has its own paint job, skin, whatever you want to call it, but ultimately, almost all weapons share the exact same modifications. You only get extended magazine, some different sights, and a silencer. That's it. There's no muzzle brakes for machine guns, there's no chokes for shotguns, or any of that. It's just universal. I really dislike that. I was expecting to see more than that. Then there are some other complaints that I have with the gun system itself. There is the whole range factors into damage type of thing. I explained it in my last video a little bit. But ultimately, here's where my complaint is. I'll use the MS-16 and the 3A carbine example. So I think that the MS-16 is supposed to be the real-life version of the M14. If that's the case, the M14 is classified as a designated marksman rifle. For those that don't know what designated marksman rifle means, it means that it's a weapon designed with high capacity magazines and the ability to engage targets at a range greater than your standard infantry, but less than a sniper. The 308 carbine is a real life equivalent of the M24, I believe. If I'm correct on this as well, then the M24 is a real life sniper rifle. Now, this is the old M24. The M24 has received an upgrade slash modification since its introduction to the military. It's now been modified or replaced with a new M24 system that uses the 300 Magnum. So we got a caliber change. But regardless of technicalities, in the game, the MS-16 should thrive at 50 meters. Same goes with the 308 carbine, but for some weird reason, the game says no. The 308 carbine will always do more damage than the MS-16. It's just the way the game works because range factors into the damage, which is completely stupid in my opinion. The MS-16 or the M14 thrives at that range. Hell, even an M16 or an M4 can thrive at that range. So why is it that the 3 carbine is going to get guaranteed one shot, one kills, whereas the MS-16 won't at 50 meters? It doesn't make sense. So yeah, there's a lot of things that they could have done differently. Uh, Mechanics and store wise. I mean, they could have done something just as basic as adding something like this, the M110. It's the designated marksman rifle currently in use by tons of military branches in the world. It's the Knight's Armament heavily modified SR-25. You can buy the civilian version of the SR-25 if you really wanted to. For SMGs, they could have added the Vector 5, Chris Super V, whatever you want to call it, the 45 ACP submachine gun. I mean, there's stuff that they could have done, but they didn't. Okay, moving on to the story part. I was really disappointed with the ending. When you got to the very end, you only got two choices with the ending, and both are really bad endings, in my opinion. They say the first one, which is resist, is the good ending, and the one where you just walk away is the bad ending, but they're both bad. The I think they should have given you at least a third option. The game does have prepper stashes all throughout the area. A lot of these prepper stashes are bunkers. You should have, at the very least, been given an option for third inning if you discovered all the prepper stashes. Look at games like Arkham Knight, I think it was. If you 100% the game, you got a different ending. So why can't you do the same here? Give us a much better ending where, you know, the everybody's not obliterated or held hostage. It's like there's no real good ending. Either way, the main villain wins. Ugh, whatever. Okay. NPCs. In the game, there's not really a way to form relationships or friendships. Um, Anybody that is named in the game, realistically, the only interaction you have is through cutscenes. To make things even worse, the main character is not voice acted at all. So there's really not that much in terms of interaction. I guess that they were shooting for the idea that you have to really hurry things along because stuff is happening all the time, every minute type of thing. But everybody slows down at some point to, have a conversation and get to know the person that's with you type of thing. They couldn't even do that much. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about one other thing, and then I'll go ahead and end the recording. I think we can cover the entire mm, economy system, I guess you can say. There's not really a variety in terms of making money in the game. The only three efficient ways to make money is side quests, fishing, or prepper stashes. Either of which is going to take time. The game doesn't really give you money for main quests. They only give you money at the very end of the quest, so it's like a built-up reward. But you need so much money to get through all of your upgrades, buying different weapons and all that, to even have a chance at playing this game. By a lot of money, I mean like maybe around $28,000 total. If you know what you're doing and you buy the right weapons, you can get through this game pretty quick, but because the game is so poor at explaining its mechanics or the guns themselves, I don't I don't even think that people would be able to be able to figure that kind of stuff out. If somebody wasn't watching my prior recordings or at least read something about these weapons, I don't think they would have a clue. Now, I will say that people have been telling me that it's an RPG and you shouldn't have to worry about, you know, variety and all this. But at the end of the day, a lot of RPGs have done a lot better than this. Mass Effect 1 is a prime example. It had a much bigger customization system than Far Cry 5 does, and its story was phenomenal. To me, Far Cry 5 was just a rushed game. They could have done so much better, and maybe they will do better. They might just have to pull a Mass Effect 3 in which that they make DLC specifically to patch these holes. But yeah, I'm gonna end the recording there. So yeah, wait for it to be on sale. Thanks for listening.